The plan for conquering Jericho was pretty simple, really. Might not have made a lot of sense at the time they first heard it. But it was simple. March around Jericho once a day for 6 days. The seventh day, march around 7 times. Blow the trumpet, shout, and God do His part. As simple as that plan sounds, to us looking back, knowing God did what He said He was going to do, can you imagine how it sounded to the military-minded folks of Israel? When their leader told them that God said, today we're going to march around the city. I can imagine some thinking, well, if we're going to do this today and tomorrow and the day after, why don't we just leave the Ark of the Covenant behind and we'll get it when we come back around and save that extra weight. Why don't we leave some of our stuff behind and just get it when we make it around? Can you imagine some saying, look, we're trained in military matters. We know a better way than what you're telling us, Joshua. The thing is, they never questioned God. Jericho was already His. Joshua could claim victory before they ever marched the first time because he was willing to be obedient. And the people of Israel were willing to be obedient as well. They simply obeyed. And that's what He wants from us today. See, God doesn't want us to tell Him that we have a better idea than He does. He doesn't want us to tell Him that we know a shortcut. That we know a way that might be simpler. God doesn't want us to question Him at all. What He wants for us to do is simply obey Him. Be obedient. You'll notice that in the end, Jericho literally fell into the hands of God's people. And I'm convinced had they failed to obey even the tiniest of God's commands, had they failed to obey God's chosen leader for them, I dare say that they would have found themselves defeated rather than victorious. They would have never won. And what this says to me is that for the child of God, obedience is the norm rather than the exception.